Dear learners, in this module, I'll discuss about work study. So work study can be classified into two major components. One is method study and work measurement. So these are the two scientific approaches that is coming from the operation or production and operation domain in terms of designing the job. So with increasing complexities of the technological world, need to simplify the work system has been increasing day by day. Work study is an area of knowledge that addresses the problem of work simplification with the basic objective of improving the productivity and then human comfort as well as safety. So these are the three major outcomes we are expecting by performing the work study with the help of method study as well as work measurement approaches. So the evolution of work study is coming from Frederick Winslow Taylor contribution, that is founder of modern method and time study. He has contributed many things to the management in terms of conducting the work study. So he established that each job should have a standard time determined by time studies. In the timing processes, Taylor advocated dividing the work into small divisions of effort known as work elements. So time was obtained for these elements individually and their collective values were used to determine the allowed time for the task. And then following F.W. Taylor contribution, Lillian Gilbert and then Franklin Gilbert is considered as the founder of modern motion study techniques, which is defined as the study of body motions used in performing an operation for the purpose of improving the operation by eliminating unnecessary motions, simplifying necessary motions, and then establishing the most favorable motion sequence for maximum efficiency. Gilbert has conducted series of experiments to improve the productivity level of the human being in an organization context in terms of thoroughly studying each and every elements of the job performed by the individuals in terms of conducting the motion as well as micro motion study principles. And then Frederick W. Taylor, first engineer in the history studying on the time study. So he's the first one who has coined this particular concept called time study. And Taylor states that in these experiments, we were not trying to find the maximum work that a man could do on a short time, but to learn what really constitutes a full day's work for a first class man, the best day's work that a man could properly do. So this is a major outcome of Frederick Winslow Taylor experiment. So Taylorism also says that which is the best way to do this job? What should constitute a day's work? Selection of the best worker, training, teaching him, and then the division of the work equally, and then conducting time study in terms of dividing each task into work elements, and then in terms of studying each and every element separately, and then finally you can also use it for training the manpowers. So in terms of understanding Gilbert's contribution, motion study is one of the major contributions given by Gilbert. So study of the body motions, eliminating unnecessary motions, simplifying necessary motions, and then establishing the most favorable motion sequence for maximum efficiency. So the works were divided into basic motions elements called as derbliques. So derbliques are used to divide the entire components of the works into major portions or major subcomponents. So there is one best method to perform a given task. So that is what they are trying to find in both the experiments, whether the experiments conducted by Taylor or Gilbert. And then one of the major contribution given by Gilbert is conducting micro motion study, where the techniques of filming motion to study, and there they have used two approaches called cycle graph and then chronocycle graph. So here what they have done is exactly, so they used to record the entire motion of the person, one who is conducting the task, and then thoroughly studying each and every elements of the work conducted by the individuals, then finally coming up with one best possible way to complete the task. So there is a major contribution of conducting micro motion study or motion study. So definition of work study. So work study is defined as that body of knowledge concerned with the analysis of the work methods and the equipment used in performing a job. So the design of an optimum work method and the standardization of proposed work methods are nothing but work study. So the prerequisites for conducting work study are: you need to think about what is the job exactly you are going to study, and then on what basis you are going to record the motions, whether you are going to use some of the techniques that is coming under work measurement or method study approach and so on. So these are some of the things you need to think when you are planning to conduct the work study. There are certain steps involved in conducting work study. So there is a 8-step standard process need to be done in terms of conducting the work study. So the first process is you have to select the job to be studied, and then the second process is record the job. So all the details pertinent to the job using various recording techniques that can be recorded, and then examine recorded facts critically by asking questions like who, what, when and why. So by asking all those questions, we can also understand, or critically we can examine each and every components of the job, and then develop most economical method of performing the task, and then measure it, the amount of work involved, and set standard time to do the job. So previously a person might have taken to complete a particular job maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes duration. Now after the critical examination, you can propose a new approach or new method of doing the same task. Probably he or she may be taking only 2 minutes or 3 minutes to complete the task. And then define new method and standard time, and then install the new method, that is new method as a standard practice, and then maintain the same thing. Then and there you can also further conduct micro motion studies to revise the existing methods proposed in the organizational context. And then some of the principles of work study. So these are the 3 major principles one should understand before they conduct work study. So must come from the top level management. Without getting the top level management support, I don't think so one can perform this method study in any organizational context. And then people made aware of the objectives and the need of the exercising such study. So sometimes people feel that no, I'm being examined, or maybe I'm being recorded by someone, and probably they may be questioning some of my existing work practices and so on. So you have to create some awareness before you go and do the work study in your organization premises. And then method study must precede work measurement. So before you go for the work measurement, you have to conduct method study. So as I said, work study is having 2 major components, that is method study and work measurement. So your method study must precede work measurement. Some of the objectives are to analyze the present method of doing a job systematically in order to develop a new and better method. So developing a new, better way of conducting the job is the major outcome of both the approaches, whether it is method study or work measurement. And then to measure the work content of a job by measuring the time required to do the job for a qualified worker, and hence to establish standard time. Another objective is to increase the productivity by ensuring the best possible use of human, machine, material, resources, and to achieve best quality product services at minimum possible cost. So simultaneously we are trying to increase the productivity, at the same time we are also trying to ensure the quality of the products or service rendered by the organization. Next objective is to improve operational efficiency. We are also trying to improve the operational efficiency of the organization. In turn, this may lead to overall outcome of the organization or overall effectiveness of the organization. To reduce waste through standardization of work elements of a job. Removing the unnecessary waste particles produced during the work task or work processes. This is one of the major component or major outcome of performing the work study. And then finally, at last, we are trying to improve the overall labor efficiency. So already I said that work study is having two major components. One is method study and then work measurement. So sometimes this method study is also referred as motion study, where we are trying to examine the job and finding more efficient method to perform it. Whereas in work measurement, this is also referred as time study, where we are trying to determine the time necessary to perform a job and its elements. So the major difference between motion and time study is, in motion study, we are trying to locate the efficient method or efficient way of performing the task, whereas in time study, we are trying to determine the time required to perform each and every activities carried out by the organization members in the organization context. So this is a major difference between motion study and time study. So some of the benefits of conducting work study are increased productivity and operational efficiency, and then reduced manufacturing cost, improved workplace layout. Even the entire design of the layout can be further improved, in turn that may result in better productivity, better manpower planning and capacity planning, and then fair wages to employees, better working conditions to employees, improved workflow, and then reduced material handling time as well as cost as well as energy. And then it also provides a standard of performance to measure labor efficiency. So you can also set the standard time for completing this task, as well as you can compare standard time with the actual time. That is also possible. Better industrial relations and employee morale. It can also boost employee morale among the employees. That is also possible. And basis for sound incentive scheme, and then provides better job satisfaction to employees. Finally, their job satisfaction level may be increased with the help of this work study. Some of the advantages of conducting method study are, it can simplify the task, it can also improve the working method, or you can also find out the cheapest possible way of conducting the job or performing the task. That is nothing but cheaper method. Better product quality or service quality, improved workplace layout similar to work study. Again, some of the points are getting repeated here also. And then improved equipment design, better working conditions, and so on. Some of the disadvantages are high operating cost, high wastage and scrap. Sometimes your method study may be resulted in all those things, because for the purpose of conducting method study, we are trying to realign the entire organizational task. Excessive movement of materials and workmen, that is also that will be leading to or resulted in some of the issues. And then excessive production bottlenecks, and then excessive rejections. Even sometimes we may be getting a lot of complaints from the organizational members as well as customers. So in terms of understanding time study, the entire total time of operation is divided into majorly two major components. One is total work time and then total ineffective time. For example, in manufacturing context, if an employee is assigned 8 hours shift in terms of performing the task, means I don't think so an employee is going to perform their duties exactly for 8 hours. Because we do give some of the breaks, as well as we do give some lunch break, as well as morning as well as evening tea breaks, and then there are some relaxation times also allocated in terms of scheduling the job. So the total work content is nothing but the basic work content of product or operation performed by the individual, and then the total ineffective time may have work content added due to defects in design or specification of products, work content added by inefficient method of manufacturing, and then ineffective time due to shortcoming of management, and then ineffective time within the control of workers, and so on. So these are the other ineffective times associated with whenever we are trying to calculate the total time of operation. So if you remove all those bottlenecks, then the total work content can be increased further. So now we'll discuss about method study. So far what we have discussed is, in general, some of the benefits and demerits of work study as well as method study, and then what is work study. So in method study, method study is nothing but it is a systematic recording and critical examination of existing and proposed ways of doing work as a means of developing and applying easier and more effective methods and reducing the overall cost of the job. So some of the objectives of conducting method study are critical examination of facts, develop best possible solution, and then eliminate unnecessary operations, add value and avoid delays, and then overall we are trying to optimize 3 M's, that is nothing but money, men, material, and so on. So this is what we are trying to do in terms of conducting the method study. So the method study procedures are exactly similar to your work study procedure, or steps or stages. So first you need to select the job, and then you record it, and then examine the job, and then you develop a new method of performing the task, and then define the new method, and then implement it in your organization, that is nothing but installation, and then finally you maintain the task. Over a period of time, you can also again and again conduct the method study, and then you can also bring some more improvement to the existing practices or existing way of conducting the job. In turn, that may be resulted in higher productivity. So here, the job to be studied can be selected by considering these 3 major aspects. One is from the economic aspect, and then technical aspect, and then human aspect. So for example, in terms of understanding human aspect, what are the psychological factors which is going to affect the job or employee? For example, if you see the literature, Hawthorne studies were conducted in terms of understanding the different strategies implemented by the organization, in turn how that is affecting the employee satisfaction and so on. So similarly, technical aspects. So technical aspects of the job need to be understood before you select any job for method study. And then economic aspect, even the economic aspect need to be considered whenever you are trying to quantify or examine any job in your organization. So this economic aspect is coming from the perspective of cost calculation. Technical aspect is coming from the mechanical aspect, and then the human aspect is related to psychological aspects of the job or person, one who is doing the job. So some of the recording techniques used in method study are, there are certain charts are used, that is nothing but macro motion charts, micro motion charts, and then some of the diagrams also used, Pareto diagram, flow and string diagrams, and then cycle graph and chrono cycle graph, and so on. So these are the different charts as well as diagrams used in method study. So this critical examination is one of the major component in conducting the method study. So in critical examination, we need to understand some more thing. Like yes, this is nothing but a systematic and progressive series of questions with the purpose of determining true reasons. So based on the reasons, improvements are found and adopted into a new method called better method. So the use of questioning technique reduces the possibility of missing any information which may be useful for the development of better method. So a popular procedure of carrying out critical examination uses 2 sets of questions. Primarily we are asking 2 types of questions. One is primary questions and then secondary questions. In primary questions we are asking like answers to these show up the necessity of carrying out the activity and so on. In secondary questions, answers to these allow considerations to alternate method of doing the activity and so on. Selection of the best way of doing each activity is later determined to develop new method which is introduced as a standard practice. So some of the primary questions are the purpose for which this job is being carried out, and then the place at which the job can be performed, the sequence in which this particular job can be performed, and then the person by whom this job can be performed, and then the means by which this particular job can be performed, and so on. So these are some of the primary questions one should ask whenever he or she is doing the critical examination of the job. And then in terms of purpose, what is done, these are some of the example questions one can ask. What is done? Why is it done? What else might be done? What should be done? And then in terms of place, where is it done? Why is it done there? And then where else might it is done? And then where should it be done? In terms of sequence, when is it done? Why is it done? When might it be done? When should it be done? And then in terms of person, who does it? Why does that person do it? who else might do it, who should do it, and then in terms of means, how is it done, why is it done that way, and then how else might it be done, and then how should it be done. So these are some of the example questions one can ask whenever they are going to follow this purpose, place, sequence, person and means related questions under the critical examination umbrella. So some of the development and selection of improved methods are done based on this logic. So eliminate all necessary operations and then combine operations and elements, change the sequence of operations and then simplify the necessary operations. And steps in development and selection are evaluation, that is evaluate the alternatives, and then investigation from the perspective of technical aspect, and then economical feasibility. You have to design and develop any one particular method of doing the task. So and then the next step is installation of the proposed method. So recommendation phase and implementation phase, there are two phases are available here. Initially you can recommend the particular method to the organizational members, and then finally you can give them some training in terms of implementing all those practices or new set of practices in their routine life. Then finally you can implement the suggested method of conducting the job. So maintain. So in this phase we need to do a lot of follow-up, and then monitoring and control need to be done, audit of the savings, and then review of the approach, and then evaluation of effectiveness of proposed method. Periodically you need to quantify the effectiveness of proposed method or maybe implemented method. Then only you will be able to ensure the overall organizational effectiveness in terms of implementing a new method of doing the job. So some of the method study symbols are listed here. The circle is nothing but operation, and then this box is nothing but inspection, and then this right side arrow is nothing but transportation, this D symbol is nothing but delay, and then this downward rectangle is nothing but storage, and then this inner circle with the box is nothing but combined activity, and so on. So these are some of the symbols used to quantify the task in terms of conducting any method study. Now in this section we'll discuss about work measurement. So I said that work study is having two major components. One is method study and then work measurement. So method study need to be done before you carry out work measurement. So the overall outcome of conducting method study is we are trying to pick or locate the one best possible way of conducting the job in terms of thoroughly analyzing the each and every sequence of the job done through by the organizational members. So in work measurement, the overall outcome of work measurement is we are trying to determine the time duration, the exact time duration required to perform a task. So that is what we are trying to do in work measurement. So work measurement is nothing but the application of techniques designed to establish the time for a qualified worker to carry out a specific job at a defined level of performance. So some of the objectives of work measurement are comparing alternative methods, and then you can also compare X method with Y method or previously performed method with the recently developed method. So which method is taking larger time in terms of completing the task. So like that you can make comparison, and then assessing the correct initial manning, that is manpower requirement planning, and then planning and control, realistic costing, and then delivery date of planning. You can also accurately plan your manpower requirement as well as your delivery date of the final product or maybe final service to the clients or customers. And then cost reduction and cost control, it is also resulted in cost reduction as well as cost control because you are trying to reduce the time required to perform the task by conducting the work measurement. So through this way you can reduce the overall cost of the organization or overall cost of performing the task. And then identifying substandard workers, even with the help of this work measurement approach, you will be able to identify the substandard workers. That is also possible. And then training new employees. Even to train the new employees, you need to know exactly like how much of the time is required in terms of completing a X task or Y task and so on. So work measurement techniques are, for example, whenever you are trying to do work measurement in terms of repetitive works or non-repetitive works, there are certain techniques can be applied. So time study, that is stopwatch technique for each and every processes, how much of the time is consumed by the employees or one who is performing the task, that can be done with the help of time study, with the help of stopwatch technique. And then work sampling. Work sampling is also another effective method in terms of determining the total time required to perform the task. And the synthetic data, analytical estimating, predetermined motion time study approaches, and so on. So this time study as well as work sampling involves direct observation, while remaining are data-based approaches, analytical in nature as well. So the first two methods, that is time study or stopwatch technique and then work sampling, are nothing but direct observation method, where you are trying to directly observe each and every task done through by the members in terms of following some time sequence as well as setting the time for completing each and every jobs. So time study is work measurement technique for recording the times and rates of working for the elements of a specific job carried out under specific condition. So that's the reason why we are trying to perform the time study. So here some of the steps involved in terms of making this time study are: so first you select the job for work study. For example, in restaurant context, an employee is manufacturing or maybe preparing the pizza. So first you select the job for your work study or time study, and then obtain and record details regarding methods, operator, job and working condition. So how the chef is cooking the pizza or maybe preparing the pizza, so you need to thoroughly understand each and every processes done through by the employees, as well as you need to obtain the information about the job, as well as you need to record it down. Then define the element, break the job into convenient for timing. You break the entire job element into different elements or different job sequences, and then you measure the time duration for each element and assess the rating. So for each and every elements of the job, how much of the time is consumed by the employee, so you need to understand that. And then extend observed time into normal time, that is nothing but basic time, and then determined relaxation and personal allowances. So while computing the overall time which can be taken by the employees to complete the job, so there you may be giving some of the relaxation as well as personal allowances. So everything put together, how much of the time is required in terms of completing the task. So that's the final outcome we are going to get. So finally you can compute the standard time required for completing the job or define the job or operation. So there are different elements, work elements are involved whenever you are trying to do the time study. So some of the elements are a repetitive element, an occasional element, and then a constant element, and then a variable element, manual element, machine element, governing element, and then foreign element. Now we'll discuss one by one what are all those elements. So repetitive element is nothing but is an element which occurs in every work cycle of the job. Occasional element is nothing but does not occur in each work cycle of the job, but which may occur at regular or irregular intervals, for example machine setting. So in die casting industry context, whenever they are going to design or maybe manufacture a new product, that they need to set up the machine. They have to install the new die into the machine, then after that they need to check whether everything is properly manufactured or not. So this is nothing but machine setting. This may happen occasionally. Maybe for the next 1 week or 2 weeks, a person is going to manufacture the same equipment with the help of that particular die casting machine, means I don't think so occasional element will be involved between these 2 weeks of duration. A constant element, the basic time remains constant whenever it is performed. Example, switch the machine on. A variable element is an element for which the basic time varies in relation to some characteristics of the product, equipment or process. Example, dimensions, weight, quantity, and then for example even push trolley of parts to next shop and so on. So this is nothing but variable element. There could be a delay also in this context. Manual element is nothing but is an element performed by the worker. Machine element is automatically performed by a power driven machine or processes. Governing element is occupies a longer time than any of the other elements which are being performed concurrently. Example, boil kettle of water while setting out teapot and cups and so on. So this is nothing but governing element. And then foreign element. Foreign element is nothing but is observed during a study which after analysis is not found to be necessary part of the job. Example, decreasing a part that has still to be machined further. So these are nothing but foreign elements. So there are different types of allowances involved in terms of determining the total allowance being given to the employees. So some of the allowances are personal allowance, constant fatigue allowance and variable fatigue allowance. So this constant and variable fatigue allowance will determine the fatigue total allowance. And then this personal and fatigue allowance, total personal allowance and total fatigue allowance will determine the relaxation allowance. And there are other allowances also being correlated with the relaxation allowance, that is contingency allowance, policy allowance if applicable, and then normal time duration to complete the task, and everything put together you will get the total allowance. Finally, you will be able to compute the standard time required to complete this task. So these are the different allowances associated with whenever you are trying to design a new task or whenever you are going to determine the total time duration to complete the task. So in work measurement context, the standard time is used in costing the labor component of products, tracking employee performance, and scheduling and planning required resources and so on. So these are the things we are trying to do in terms of computing the standard time. So the major goal or major purpose of computing the standard time required to perform a task is you need to determine the standard duration of completing each and every task performed by the organization. Then only you can easily quantify the job, as well as you can do a lot of planning related activities like how many manpowers are required in terms of completing this task and how long you are going to take in terms of completing the entire required outputs. So to do all those planning, even to determine the delivery time, you need to have the standard time for completing each and every task. So that's how the project management team will determine the entire schedule of the operation. So to make the schedule also, again you need to provide input, key input, that is nothing but the standard time required to complete the task. So setting standard time follows the 7-step or 7-stage process. So in the first step, what we are trying to do is, first you choose a specific job to be studied. For example, in the typical production or manufacturing organization context, so you need to specifically pick any one of the tasks and then you need to thoroughly understand like how much of the time is required to complete each and every task, and then tell the worker whose job you will be studying. So you need to explain the worker by saying that, so now I'm trying to understand your entire job. Basically with the help of time watch study concept, I'm trying to record your exact time duration that is required to perform the task. So don't do it faster or maybe slightly low, don't consume slightly lower time also. So you do your normal task, I'll try to record my time using some of the time watch equipment or stopwatch equipment. Then after that I'll come back to you. So like that you can also explain the process of conducting this standard time calculation to your employees. And then break the job into easily recognizable units. So if the total job sequence is having some 6 or 7 major elements, means you try to segment or segregate each and every elements into sub elements, and then you try to quantify the time duration, exact time duration required to perform each and every sub elements of the task, and then calculate the number of cycles you must observe. So in most of the cases, in one go you may not be able to exactly record as well as exactly monitor everything. In some of the cases, multiple times you may have to reach the operation department and then you need to record everything, and then time each element, record data and rate the workers' performance. So you can also give ratings to the employees, who is doing better job, who is not doing better job. So that can be done part of this standard time calculation process. And then compute the normal time. So while computing the normal time, you need to take into account some of the allowances given during the task, then finally you can compute the standard time. So basically in a day, if the standard time to complete a task is, let us assume that 8 hours means, I don't think so an employee is going to perform their duties or task for the entire 8 hours duration. So some of the allowance times, relaxation times also being associated with determining the entire 8 hours outputs. For example, in die casting industry context, an employee is supposed to produce, let us assume that 700 outputs per day means only they will be considering 6 hours of work duration in terms of producing that 700 outputs, but they may not be allocating the outputs that can be produced within 8 hours of shift duration, because there are some relaxation times also associated, break times also associated, and then there are some other allowances also given to the employees, and there are some job elements, various elements also involved in it. So that's the reason why they are allocating 700 units that can be completed within 6.5 hours or 6 hours duration of time or work time, but we are allocating 8 hours shift time to the employees in terms of completing all those 700 units. So this is the way how the standard time of the job is computed, and this is the way how the job is designed. So in terms of talking about some of the recently developed jobs, for example data analyst and then data scientist and so on, so that we don't have any standard thumb rule, or we don't have any standard guidance in terms of determining the total duration to complete the task. So whatever we have discussed here, like a time stopwatch study and so on, work measurement and the other things, everything is in the context of manufacturing, but there are jobs that can be done in IT context as well as in other contexts, so that you have to use different approaches in terms of designing the job. So if there are any benchmarking jobs are available in the job market, means you can also benchmark them. Usually in project based organization, they used to allocate the times for each and every pieces of activities on daily basis. For example, the total duration of the project is, let us assume that 3000 hours means how many people are associated with the total project. So the 3000 hours will be divided into number of people, those who are going to associate with the project. For example, there are about 30 people are doing that particular project, means 3000 divided by 30. So per person can take 300 hours of project duration. Again, this 300 hours is not going to have continuous 8 hours shift duration. Again, there are some break times and other allowances also given. So this is a way how you can compute the standard time for completing the entire project. But determining whether he or she should take, or whether this project is required 3000 hours of work duration, that's a difficult question. So this can be determined based on some of the scientific approaches, as well as based on comparing some of the task that is being carried out in other organizations. That is nothing but benchmark task. So you can also benchmark other related tasks that is being carried out in other organization, and then you can also follow the same logic in your organization in terms of determining the total project duration. Job design, we have discussed in the first module. We have discussed about what is job design, and then different behavioral approaches, and then different scientific approaches in terms of designing the job as well as redesigning the job. So in this module we have discussed about work study. So work study is having two major components. One is method study and then work measurement. So these are the two major scientific approaches which can be applied in terms of quantifying the job as well as in terms of determining the standard time for completing the job. So one of the major outcome of method study is finding the best possible way of completing the task, and then the major outcome of work measurement is determining the standard time required to perform the task. Thank you.